There's no pipe here, no well, no rain coming. Hasn't rained in 4 days. And yet, look at that. Water, dripping into a trough, slow and steady, like it's been doing it all night. Because it has. That's drinking water. Pulled straight out of the air overnight. Cost me $12 to build the thing that's making it. I'm not going to tell you this is some crazy new invention. It's not. Engineers have known about this for over 100 years. Fog collectors, dew harvesters. They've been used in coastal villages in Chile, in the mountains of Morocco, and rural Ethiopia, places where the grid doesn't reach and the wells ran dry. The reason you've never heard of it is honestly kind of annoying. It works too well and costs too little for anyone to sell you. So let me just show you how to build one. You already know this works. You've seen it your whole life and just never connected the dots. That's condensation on your cold glass. That's dew on the grass every morning before the sun gets high. That's a spider web doing something a $3,000 commercial water generator tries to replicate with a compressor and a fan. The air around you right now, wherever you are, is carrying water, invisible, suspended, just waiting to touch something cold enough to let go of it. There's a temperature called the dew point. When air hits a surface that's at or below that temperature, the water vapor in it has nowhere to go but out. It condenses, turns liquid, starts to drip. What you're building is basically a large surface for that handoff to happen on. Big surface area, angled into the wind, tilted, so gravity pulls the drops down and collects them at the bottom. No moving parts, no electricity, no maintenance. You set it up before bed and it works while you sleep. And here's the part that gets me every time I think about it. The atmosphere holds roughly 37 million billion gallons of fresh water at any given moment. That's more than every river on Earth combined, just floating there. And almost nobody is collecting it. That's the whole idea. Here's the parts list. And I want to be real with you. This is genuinely it. Shade cloth mesh, 6 by 6 feet, the kind you find at any garden center or hardware store. About $5. The tighter the weave, the better. You want something closer to a window screen than a volleyball net. The mesh is doing all the real work here, so don't cut corners on the weave. 4 sections of 1-inch PVC pipe to make your frame. $2, maybe less if you scrap it. Zip ties. You've got some in a drawer somewhere. A plastic gutter section for the collection trough. $3 or $4 at any hardware store. And a few bricks or rocks to prop it at the right angle. That's $10 to $14 all in. If you already have zip ties and bricks, you're at $8. No tools required beyond whatever it takes to cut PVC. And honestly, the hardware store will often do that cut for free if you ask. The frame goes together first. 4 PVC sections into a rectangle, roughly 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide. You're not building furniture here. It just needs to hold its shape and take some wind without collapsing. Zip tie the corners if you don't want to deal with fittings. It'll hold fine. Now stretch the mesh over the frame. Pull it tight. You want 0 sag, and zip tie it every 6 inches along every edge. Think of how a drum is made. You want that same tension across the whole surface because sagging mesh means pooling water, and pooling water means slower runoff and less collection. Here's the one thing people get wrong when they first build this. They lay it flat on the ground. Don't do that. Flat means the water pools on top, evaporates when the sun comes up, and you collect almost nothing. You want to tilt, 15 to 30 degrees, like you're leaning it against a wall at a shallow angle. That way every droplet that forms on the mesh rolls downhill by itself, hits the bottom edge, and drips into the trough waiting below it. Set the gutter section directly under that lower edge. If you want to run a short length of tubing from the trough into a storage container, go for it. But it's not required to see this work on the first night. Now placement, which matters more than most people think. Face it into the wind. Not sideways, not away from it. You want air moving through the mesh, not around it. Walk around your yard at dusk and feel which direction the breeze is coming from. That's where the front of the frame points. Get it off the ground a little. Even a foot makes a real difference. Air closer to ground level is drier and warmer than air a bit higher up. And keep it away from wherever the morning sun hits first. You want the dew to build up through the entire night and still be sitting in that trough when you come out to collect it, not burned off before you wake up. Set it up before sunset. Come back at dawn. That's the whole routine. What's happening overnight is just physics doing what it always does. As the temperature drops, the air hits the mesh surface and cools down with it. When it crosses the dew point, the moisture has nowhere left to go. It condenses out, forms a droplet. That droplet finds another one sitting nearby. They merge, get heavier, and gravity does the rest, rolling down into the trough. By morning, you've got something for nothing. My first night running this, average humidity, temperatures in the mid-50s, no fog, no rain. I collected just over half a liter, which sounds modest until you consider those were about as average conditions as you can get. Nothing special about that night at all. In humid climates, coastal areas, river valleys, anywhere that sees morning fog roll in, people are pulling a liter, 2 liters, sometimes more from a setup this size in a single night. Scale the mesh up to 10 by 10 feet, and now you're talking serious daily water. Production from something you built on a Saturday afternoon with parts from one hardware store run. A family of 4 needs about 2 liters of drinking water per person per day. Scale this right, in the right climate, and you're covering that entirely from air. No bills, no infrastructure, no asking anyone's permission. Now let's talk about drinking it. Atmospheric water is actually pretty clean to start with. It hasn't touched the ground, hasn't run through soil or pipes, so it skips most of what makes surface water complicated. Bacteria, agricultural runoff, sediment, all of it. But it can pick up particulates from the mesh over time, or trace pollutants if you're building this in an urban area near traffic or industry. The fix takes 5 minutes and costs about $3. Take a plastic bottle, cut the bottom off, flip it upside down so the neck is pointing down. Layer materials inside it from bottom to top. Cotton first, then activated charcoal. Pick that up at any aquarium store. Then a layer of fine sand, then a final layer of cotton at the top. Pour your collected water through from the top and let it drip out the neck into a clean container below. That's your filter. It handles particulates, absorbs most chemical concerns, and adds maybe a minute to your morning routine. If you want to be completely sure, boil it. Or add 1 drop of plain unscented household bleach per liter, wait 30 minutes, and it's as clean as treated tap water. Probably cleaner, actually, depending on where you live. Free water from the air, filtered in 5 minutes for a one-time cost of $12. The thing about this project that keeps sitting with me is how old this idea actually is. People have been doing versions of this for centuries. The Incas built stone structures specifically designed to condense water from mountain fog. Fog nets have been harvesting water in the Canary Islands for generations. There are Bronze Age wells in the Negev Desert that archaeologists now think were actually dew collectors, structures built not to hold water but to produce it. And somewhere in the last 100 years, as indoor plumbing spread and municipal water became the default, we stopped thinking about it, stopped needing to. The tap worked, so the old knowledge just quietly sat on a shelf and gathered dust. $12, one afternoon. And that knowledge is back in your hands. I don't know what your situation is or why you're watching this. Maybe you're thinking about preparedness. Maybe you're already off-grid and this fills a real gap. Maybe you just like building things that actually do something useful, and you found this at 2 a.m. because you were curious. It doesn't matter. It works either way. Now you know how. Take care and see you in the next one.